Dragon Ball Super Masterclass. Um, every damage you take, you lose a turn. So it's important to pay attention to your life. Ideally, you want to take one or less damage, right? One damage or zero. If you're taking more than that, that creates a problem. If you take damage at all, that's creating a problem. The problem is that you're losing turns. You're losing turns from future, right? You're losing turns from late game, right? The first two turns, that's early game. Turn 3 and turn 4, that's mid game, and turn 5 and above, that's late game. So most people back in the day typically took 4 more damage, right? So because it took 4 more damage, um, they since it took 4 more damage, games didn't last longer than turn 4 typically because of the whole taking 4 damage, because you're trying to awaken fast, and you end up playing that way. So essentially we all were, well, not me, but everybody else was essentially playing with 4 life, right? Because the whole idea was everybody's trying to awaken. So that's how everybody else was playing, but not me. I wasn't trying to awaken first or even at all. Granted, you did draw a card when you awaken, so I understand wanting to awaken, but it wasn't necessary. I prefer to awaken second. Um, this is the online. You can play it on tap on your phone, so just playing around real quick. So let's just draw. Ideally, don't want that in my hand. Keep the ball. Turning tides, obviously, I want that. So these are cards I definitely will want. Always want to get my defenses away. So the thing is, taking the first 4 damage, right, means typically you won't get past turn 4. So that's why you want to take less damage. Right? Now, and that's if you're taking that damage early. Now, if you take 1 damage a turn, by the time you get to turn 4, you'll still have 4 life, right? So then after that, it's like if you can, go past that, then you can go past that, because you still have at least, you still have at least potentially 3 more turns if you're at 4 life on turn 4. So you can go past turn 4 if you have 4 life at turn 4. But if you've taken 4 damage in the first 2 turn, then there's a high possibility in turn 3 and turn 4 you're going to lose. So you won't get past turn 4 if you lost 4 life in the first 2 turns. This is why whenever I dealt my opponent a lot of damage, let's see, get rid of the defense, right? So keep those 3. First 4 damage. I mean, on turn 1, I'll try to deal like, 6 plus damage, right? Or at least do 4 damage. If I do 4 damage turn 1, then that means I have turn 2, 3, and 4 to finish off the game. So at maximum, so by doing 4 damage on turn 1 to my opponent, I make it where the game can only last up to turn 4, right? On average. Draw 3, right? On average. So that's the kind of stuff that I take to account whenever I'm thinking of damage output. A strategy is that the faster I deal damage, the shorter the game would be. Too many people are focusing on trying to prevent their opponent from awakening. Back in the day, people would do the most damage people would do at most would be like 3 damage. But it'll take them like 2 to maybe 3 turns just to do 3 damage, and then they'll just not deal any more damage after that because they don't want their opponent awaken. And because of that, games tend to go past turn 4 with that strategy. But then some people started doing self-awakening and all these other things, so they started. Where's the life? Oh, more. No. Where's the life? I don't know where the option. Draw to? Oh, there you go. Draw to life. So like I said, let's see, play out a turn. Based off of my hand, I don't want to give up too many good stuff here. Obviously, I'll charge that as energy. I go grab some balls. Go grab 2 balls. Oops. Why is this? Oh, there it is. Like, why isn't it scrolling? There's the 2 balls. It's been a while since I used the online feature. Well, leave them there. So the idea is I'm going to use all 3, right? To draw 3. 1, 2, 3. So 3 cards. Let's go to the drop, drop, drop. This is pretty smooth. Must be good internet out here. Pretty smooth so far. Alright, so I got blue energy. Obviously, this is supposed to be tapped for me to, when I grab the balls. And I got the assembling squad, which is what I want. Obviously, I want that ideally. And then I just will end my turn. It'll be my opponent's turn. Then my opponent would deal me damage, right? Now, I could, especially with what I have in my hand, I could out combo it. Alright. So, that's what I would do, right? I'll out combo it. Oops. I just accidentally added that to my life. That's not good. Let's see. Oops. Hopefully that's who I think it is. Nope. For now I'm not going to even bother correcting it. I'll just send it to the drop. It's good enough. It is 5k combo regardless. Ideally, obviously I combo 5. So I still have my 8 life. So then it'll be my turn, right? Where's the untap everything? There it is. And then I draw for the turn. I want to keep charging blue, ideally, but in this situation, I don't ideally have the ability to charge blue. Oh no, yes I do. I was overlooking this card. That's blue. I obviously don't want to use Turning the Tides, so I play that, and then of course, I will go. Well, I'll just put that there, tap that right, and just go straight for the balls. Right, go find the balls. So, see, there's 2 more balls, and then I use, and then well, obviously I was supposed to shuffle. I think I forgot to do that last time. Shuffle. Oh wait, first let me finish finding a card. I'm supposed to go grab her. There she is. She's supposed to get the field from assembling the squad. That goes to the drop. Then shuffle. Then draw 2 cards for the 2 balls. Right, so there's that. Alright, so now I have another Turn Tides, so I can use the second Turn Tides as energy, obviously. And of course, this is supposed to be tapped and tapped because I tapped them for assembling squad. And now I have her, so now I have, so she's energy, right? So I ramped, and I already have 6 cards in my. So next turn I'll be able to awaken, and next turn I'll be able to get another one of her out. So then I'll have. So let's just, I end my turn, my opponent's turn. Let's say they did me 2 damage, right? Because it'd probably be a leader swing and a battle card or a unison swing, right? So we'll just, take. Let me see what. Okay, take 1 and 2. Just grab 2. Right. Oops. So there's 2 life. So I take 2 damage, and then it'll be my turn, ideally. Right. That's another thing is like considering how much damage your opponent could deal a turn and how much you're willing to let them. I could have just taken 1 damage and potentially out comboed another damage, right? But I have no problem taking the damage because of the fact that I didn't take damage turn 1. I have no problem taking 2 damage on turn 2 because that's just essentially mathematically it's like taking damage turn 1 and taking 1 damage per each turn. Remember, every damage is a turn, so you gotta think of it that way. You see, I have an assembling squad. Now I drop the Turn of the Tides as energy. So now, I have a ball in my hand, so I can play that to draw. Send that to the drop. All right, so now. So many things I could do. Ideally, because I haven't yet did any damage to my opponent, ideally I will want to go do my bubbles thing, right? So ironically, I could do both. Depends on what I want to do, because I can obviously tap an energy, drop that, right, and then swing with that, deal some damage, then do the minus ability, and I go grab 2 bubbles from the deck. Here's 1, and here's 2. Grab them out there, shuffle. So then now I can swing. So just off of 1 energy, I was able to essentially swing and deal my opponent 3 damage. I do have the 7 balls, so what I can do is, if I want, is drop this bubbles for 1 energy, right? And then swing with that bubbles. So this should help me get my opponent down to 4 at least, right? 4 life. And now I can awaken with the 7 balls in the drop, I can awaken my leader. Where is it? Where's the alt face? Bang. It's been a while. Sorry. Let me switch it back. It's been a while since I used this leader. So default face. Let's read it. Okay. Alright, just making sure. Alright, so I don't draw cards. I only add the card back to the hand. Alright, got it. Alt face. So it's been a while, like I said, it's been a while since I played, so I automatically can grab Assembling Squad back to my hand because it's a desired card. So I have it back in my hand. Now I can obviously use my leader's ability to play the Assembling Squad for free, which of course will get me another of her. There's the other one of her. The other copies must be my life, since I only see 2 in the deck, but I only needed 2, right? And that's ideally all you just want 2. So now I currently have 3 energy on tap, if you count the 2 Majin the Fire and the Android 17. So I still have 3 energy, so I can obviously play out my Oceanus, right? I can play out, something Support of the Dark Empire, and I could of course do it for free if need be. So I have options. And then, like I said, my opponent's down to 4 life. So, and based off of my hand, because I have Pan, that's an extra added strategy I got there, right? So, like I said, I'm currently at 5. So, let's see. So I don't want to do anything other than just, end my turn. I'll let my opponent, try to do me some damage, right? Because next turn I'll be at 6. So turn 4 I'll be at 6. No, turn 4 I'll be at 7. Well, not really 7. The idea is to try to get to 7. Alright, ideally. See, a turn 4. At best, I'm trying to do a turn 5. So so more reason for me not to take damage, because remember, I'll lose a turn. So I'll tap that and her. Right? Why is that? There you go. Tap her, and there's Oceanus, and I want the effect, right? So I'll give up one of the Man on a Mission. I can obviously play Goku Man on a Mission because I have 10 cards in the drop, so I can easily overwhelm 6, obviously. Next turn I have 6 energy. If I take damage and whatnot, I could probably get one of the Majin the Fires to my hand, but the thing is to play her out. Since I can't play her out from energy, this will have to get to turn 5 in order to turn into Tide. So turn 5 will be the earliest I can win. So that's what I'm going for. I'm going for turn 5. Now let's say, as you can see, my board is pretty big. So let's say I just drop her, bang, Pan. That's going to guarantee me I get to the next turn, right? So bang, I'm getting to the next turn, ideally, right? boom, untap, my turn, draw. So I got a lot of negates here, which is nice, but I might not get to keep them for too long. But I do see, however, double checking turning the tides. Turning tides, I need a minimum of 3 blue, which I have more than enough, so I have no problem. Let me put that over there. I have no problem. Oops, not that. That would be a problem. I have no problem charging black energy now because I just need a minimum of 3 blue for turning the tides, but I have 5 blue, which is more than enough because the Mudge in the Fire, she counts as blue. So now I have 6 energy. So obviously I can afford negates and stuff like that. And right here, I got the big girl doing the big girl things, so I can obviously swing, batter, swing, go in, and I still have the bubbles, right? And I can try to do some damage with bubbles. Let's say my opponent's, let's say, just because I don't need to, I guess what I do is I combo off the bubbles, so bang. Combo off the bubbles, get her up to a high attack. So I want to get my opponent down to at least 3. Ideally 3, because I can win with Man on a Mission and Turning the Tides, right? So I can ideally win in that scenario. So I have a blocker. I got 2 blocker, barrier blocker negates in my hand that I could play for energy or for free. So I got options. So obviously I could stop 2, 4, and I got the blocker on the field, Oceanus, right? So I have potentially 5 attack negating capabilities, not to mention the fact that I still have 6 life, right? Remember, life, your life is turns, and the idea is to try to get to a certain turn. So the more life you have, the more chance you have getting to those turns. So since in this situation I have 6 life, I can afford to take a couple damages. And since I'm just trying to get to my next turn, I just need 1 more turn. I can take 5 damage this following turn, right? I can take 5 damage and not be a problem because I just need to get to the next turn. So as long as I still have 1 life at the end of my opponent's next turn, I'll get to my next turn and I'm good. So like I said, I can potentially stop 2, 4, 5. I could potentially stop 5 just with what I have, 5 attacks. Obviously you want to stop double strike damage, but take single damage. Stop double strike damage, take single damage. Remember that. And then just get to the next turn and then, pull off the combo. And that's just the main strategy right there for how this works out. And this worked out pretty good for a test hand. So, but ideally, I'm trying to remember, should have mulliganed a little bit better because I should have gotten the Saiyan Scion turn 1, because ideally turn 1 I want to go off and try to do 3 damage on turn 1. That way turn 2, I can set up my Mudge in the Fire, and then turn 3 I could have put up defense. I could have put up Raditz Giant Force or something like that, right? I could have done some other stuff, but it just depends on what I draw, right? So as you can see, the importance of, if you want to get to a certain turn, it's important to consider, try to make sure your opponent is not dealing you too much damage, because every damage you take causes you to lose a turn. And if your kill turn is turn 6, right, but you already took 6 damage, the likelihood of you getting to turn 6 is very slim, right? I mean, if you took 4 damage, getting to turn 6 is very slim. So like I said, the more damage you take, the less turns you have. So keep that in mind. Most people don't consider the damage they take at when I mean, this is why the way I know most people don't consider damage equaling turns, right, is because they do this whole self-awakening thing. They'll play cards on purpose to take life, not realizing that determines how many turns you have in the game. If you can win on turn 2, turn 3, okay, you do you. Take 4 life or 6 life, turn 1, and then try to go off turn 2. Hey, you do you. YOLO, right? Live your best life. But for some people who are trying to get to turn 4, 5, 6, 7, you need to be very mindful of your life. You got to make sure that you are not taking a lot of damage. You're not taking more than one damage, right? You want to take less than that. Ideally, perfectly, you want to take 0 damage. Ideally, I want to take no damage, but that's that's not that's not that's not likely, right? The chance of you taking damage is pretty high. So the idea is to try to minimize how much damage you take in general, so that way you can get to those extra turns, because the game ends when you run out of life, right? And if you only have 8 life, and let's say somebody's dealing you 2 damage a turn, then that means at most you have 4 turns, right? So that's why it's important to try to take less damage, so that way you have more turns. Most people don't connect their life to their turns, which is why they just, oh yeah, I love these cards where I take a life or I take 2 life, and I'm like, why is everybody so happy about taking life? You do realize that you're getting closer to losing. The game will be over soon. Unless you can guarantee you're going to win in a short period of time, in a couple of turns, it makes no sense to try to take so much life. And the thing is, a lot of people are so stuck on the idea of taking life, because to them that's card advantage, that they overlook that you do realize your deck is like a turn 5, turn 6 kill deck, right? So it's not a good idea for you to try to take 4 to 5 life on the first couple of turns of the game. And then these will be the same people that be wondering why the games are not lasting that long, right? They're not getting to certain turns that they're trying to get to. It's like, oh man, I didn't get to play this card yet. Well, duh. You let your opponent deal you so much damage. Well, you took so much damage, as in you took so much life, I should say. You took so much life. You let your opponent deal you damage. You took life. You did things counterproductive, and you treated your life as unimportant. That's the thing. You didn't connect your life to how many turns, how many opportunities you have. You just kept taking life. And that's the thing. You're taking life for granted is what I'm trying to get at. So just like in real life, don't take your life for granted, right? Don't, abuse your life, because your turn might be over, if you know what I mean. So be mindful. Same thing for this game. Be mindful of your life. As you can see, just by this little test hand thing, you can see the potential I have for just having a high life, and I'm already on turn 4, and I still have 6 life, right? And I'm going to turn 5. Because I have life, and I have negates, of course, but the main thing is I have life, right? I can take 5 damage and still have a turn, still be in the game. Most people by turn 4 will have like 2 life, maybe even 1, especially if they're playing against me, and it'll be harder to get to further turns. Not impossible, just harder. And that's the end of the video.